sewing plans for 2020. Hello and welcome. I'm Akram and you're watching Akram's Ideas, bringing creative and crazy ideas to life. This is the first episode of season 5 of Akram's Ideas, and can you believe it? It's been 5 years since I started this YouTube channel. That is crazy. And of course, I couldn't do it without all of you guys, my subscribers. Whether you've been a long-time subscriber or you're just joining us here at Akram's Ideas, I really do appreciate you coming along on this journey as I bring creative and crazy ideas to life. So for our first episode of season 5, I thought I would share my sewing plans for 2020. Now, I know that we're pretty much into 2020 already. By the time you see this video, it's probably going to be practically February, if not already February, and I took my time in figuring out what it is I wanted to do this year. Primarily January for me is more of a reflection month, time to kind of finish up any UFOs that I might have had, you know, just slow sewing, kind of winding down after December where I was busy doing Christmas sewing and all sorts of other things. So I really wanted to kind of take a step back and figure out what was my goal for the year. And it was also a really good opportunity to find out what other sewers were planning for the year as well and kind of get an idea of where I wanted to go with everything. Now, many of you may be familiar with the Make 9 challenge, which is where you were to choose 9 patterns that you want to sew throughout the year. And many people have different takes on this. There's even the Make 9 where you choose fabric instead of patterns and so forth and so forth. And last year, instead of choosing patterns, because I'm not very successful at choosing patterns, and many people in the sewing community have discussed their issues with the Make 9, is that deciding what you want to make at the beginning of the year is a little difficult because new patterns are going to come out later on in the year, and also you change. You're just like, I'm not in the mood for that anymore. I want to do something different. So last year I decided to choose types of garments that I wanted to make. And what I really wanted to make last year was a button-down shirt, a pencil skirt, a pair of pants, some more tops, a pair of overalls, because I had the Jenny overalls pattern and I kind of knew I wanted to make those. I wanted to make some turtlenecks, a sheath dress, a blazer, and some purses. And I thought that was a great idea. You know, I'm not going to choose patterns. I'm just going to focus on the types of garments. And I still failed. Yep, my Make 9s progressively has been about 40% complete. I do about 40% of what I say I'm going to do, and last year was no exception. I did make the BB skirt from the Tilly and the Buttons stretch book, and I made 3 of those. One of those I've since given away because it was hideous. It was striped, but the fabric was too tight. It didn't look good on me. And then I made a taupe one and a hot pink one. The taupe and the hot pink one I made as matching sets for some tops that I made. And the thing is that they look really good. I love them. I wear the taupe one quite often, but I only wear it with that top. And the same thing with the hot pink. I mean, I could potentially wear the hot pink one with black, but I didn't feel like I made pencil skirts that I could potentially use in other instances. They were very specific to what I made them for. And then I never got around to making more because I ended up actually buying a black pencil skirt on clearance for like $5 at Target, and I've been wearing that one. So I wasn't very successful. Even though I made the pencil skirt, I don't feel like I made a pencil skirt that I could use as often as I wanted to. Now, the overalls I made 2 pairs of Jenny overalls, and I love those. And ideally, I had them on my list because I had actually already cut them out. They were a UFO that I was completing last year. So that one worked out for me. Let's see. The tops, I actually, nearing the end of the year, I was thinking that I wasn't actually going to get those tops on because I wanted some long sleeve tops because I had a lot of short sleeve tops, and I ended up making more short sleeve tops. But near the end in November, I actually ended up making a whole series of cocoa tops. So I managed to get that one done sort of on a whim. I'd actually even forgotten that I'd wanted to make those until it got colder weather, and I'm like, you know what, I need some long sleeve tops. And so I got that done. I did make purses. I made purses for everybody in my family, which I always do, but I wanted to make a purse for me, and I actually managed to squeeze out one purse for myself as well. So that one was a success. But the button-down shirt, I attempted it. It did not go well, and I kind of got discouraged and never revisited it. The pants that I wanted to make, I just never got around to getting the time to work on, and so I just never did that. I didn't do the sheath dress, but I spent so much time working on the night and day dress for my birthday photos, which I still haven't shared or talked about. But I spent so much time on that dress that I'm kind of counting that as a massive project that took up most of my time. So I didn't do the sheath dress, and I didn't do the blazer. I still want to do a blazer. I just think the fear of like, oh, this is going to take so long is keeping me from doing that. And I didn't do the turtlenecks either. I still need turtlenecks in my wardrobe, but I didn't get around to doing it. And so, as usual, my Make 9 was only 40% successful. So, like I said, I was kind of trying to internalize what it is that I want to do this year. And one of the things that I found is I like sewing on a whim. There are certain things that I knew that throughout the year that I wanted to sew. Like I had my birthday dress that I typically sew. I have the 1940s kind of hanger dance dress that I typically sew every year. But other than that, I just kind of like, oh, what do I feel like today? You know, how much time do I have today? And I'm very limited on time. So I don't have the opportunity to say, oh yeah, I'm going to knock out this few weeks and just work on this, because I don't know what those few weeks are going to entail, because there's something coming up all the time. In fact, as you're watching this, I'm not even home this weekend. I'm organizing the Global Game Jam at work, and then the weekend after that we're doing a game thing at the museum. So, you know, it's just crazy. So my sewing is more like, oh, I've got some time, what do I want to sew? And so that's one of the issues that I run into. With that said, I do sew a lot throughout the year. I typically make more than 9 items. I just find it hard to really sit down and decide what it is I want to make. Now, Susie from the Thread Quarters, many of you probably watch her channel here on YouTube, she talked about in her sewing plans the Make 3 in 3 challenge, which is being organized by Craft and Thrift Shop. And basically, this is a challenge where you make 3 items in 3 months. So you kind of plan out your next 3 months and just, you know, 1 item a month. I love the idea of that because I don't have a lot of sewing time. And I really like this whole movement more towards slow sewing. Don't rush your sewing. I always feel sometimes that I'm on a deadline, like, oh, I gotta make something this month or something like that. And really, I don't. I've got a lot of clothes. I just like sewing. And so the Make 3 in 3 is a really good idea because now you are really focused on the 3 items. There's no rush to get them done. And I really think that's a good idea for me because, again, you're not picking your 9 items up at the start of the year. You're kind of picking them out throughout the year. And you get a little bit more slow sewing, okay? So that you get to relax and sew, because, you know, sewing is a hobby. It's just something that I do for fun because I enjoy it. And I don't want to get to the point where I hate it, because there have been times where I'm like, I hate it. This is annoying, because the project is so overwhelming, or there is a set deadline, and I'm not very good at set deadlines for personal projects. I just am not. For work projects, I have like set deadlines, ding, 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 ding. But I am not very good when it's a personal project. So there's that one that came out. Around the same time, Whitney from Tomcat Stitchery, again, many of you probably follow her channel, announced the Great Module Sew Along, which, if you haven't been watching her channel, she sews in what is called modules, where you have a variety of tops, bottoms, and toppers, which are just kind of throw over garments, that you can mix and match. And I love this idea. I've thought about doing stuff like this, but I just never, like, I'm attracted to like fun prints and big bright colors, and the problem that I run into is that nothing really matches. Like I said earlier about the pencil skirts that I made a hot pink one and a taupe one. And while the taupe one could probably work with some other stuff, I don't have a lot of, you know, like neutral tans and dark browns in my wardrobe that work with that. And the hot pink one, other than black, I don't know what it would work with. So the idea of making garments that you can mix and match really sounds like a better alternative for me, because I need to extend my wardrobe. I want to wear things, and I don't want to be like, oh, I can only wear this top with only this skirt because they only match together. I want to make my closet more versatile. So with that said, as Whitney was explaining the Great Module Sew Along, she was also saying that you don't have to sew every item in the sew along. The idea behind it is to create modules, but not necessarily to sew a whole bunch of new things. And so with the module sewing, again, you have one topper, which is like a cardigan or a blazer or a jacket, something you wear, outerwear, I guess you could say. And then you have 3 tops and 2 bottoms. So there's 6 garments total, and then you can toss in like a one piece in there if you wanted to, like a jumpsuit or a dress or something like that. But the idea is to create the module, not necessarily sew all the items. So if you have something in your wardrobe that you're trying to match up, you could say a blazer that you have that doesn't match anything, or maybe you have a pair of pants that you want to match with something else, and so forth and so forth. And at the same time, I was actually making this top, and I love this top, by the way. This is another Utiva top from Itch to Stitch Patterns. So this is the actual neckline that the top comes with. If you've seen my Christmas makes, and over on the blog, I have a full like pattern review of the top that I made in a fleece back jersey for Christmas, and I actually hacked it to have a funnel neck. But this is actually the neckline that the top comes with, and I adore this neckline, and I just adore this top. Now for this top, I did a sort of a color blocking. I didn't have enough of the stripe to do long sleeves, and since it's still winter here, to see more episodes like this, be sure to click the like button, subscribe to Akram's Ideas, and hit the bell icon to get notified of new episodes. I need more long sleeve shirts. I decided to make this with a color block of navy for the sleeves, and I adore this top. I love it. It's so soft, and it's nautical. I love anything that has sort of a nautical nod to it. But after I made it, I was like, you know what? What am I going to wear it with? I don't have anything navy in my wardrobe. I can wear it with jeans, which is what I'm doing today. And there's nothing else. I mean, I guess I could get away with wearing it with black, but you know, it'd be nice if I had like a pair of navy pants or something to wear it with. And I heard about the Great Module Sew Along, and I'm like, you know what? That's what I need to do. I need to just get on board with the Great Module Sew Along and sew a bunch of coordinating outfits. And this could be the one that kicks it off. This could be what I want to match things up with. So that's kind of where I'm leaning for the year is I'm looking at the make 3 and 3, sort of like setting myself to say, you know, I don't have to make more, or, you know, I don't have to make anything really, but my goal is to make 3 items in 3 months. And the other nice thing about the Great Module Sew Along is that the challenge actually runs from January 28th through March 24th, which is almost a 2-month span. And like Whitney said in her video, she doesn't want this just to kind of end on the 24th. She wants this to kind of be a movement to sew in modules. So afterwards, you could do the same thing. So I'm kind of combining the two, where I take the make 3 in 3, and those items are part of the Great Module Sew Along, and sort of mushing them together so that every 3 months I make about 3 items, but they're in a module so that I can mix and match them. And again, I can pull things out of my wardrobe that I already have that I want to match with, and so forth and so forth. Now, because I'm, you know, me, and, you know, crazy ideas, I decided for this module, I'm going to make everything from scratch. So that's 6 items. They're relatively easy items though. And I already made this, because this was the kind of the jumping point from where I wanted to go with it. So with that said, the first thing I wanted was a pair of pants to go with this, because I really love this top, but I don't have any navy pants. The second thing is that it's been so cold, as we're in the middle of January, I thought it'd be nice to have some knit pants, some pants made of jersey that still looked stylish, that maybe I could get away with wearing to work, but more importantly would be super cozy when I came home to wear. And so I had a lot of the navy fabric, which I have here, still left over, that I thought this would be perfect. I can make the pants, but I needed a pattern to make those, and again I wanted something in knit, and I went through my stash, went all the way through my stash, and I found New Look 6875, which is this pattern here. And this was actually really great because I'm not very, I mean, I could probably figure out a module on my own, but this is a wardrobe pattern. I mean, it's got tops, it's got 2 different skirt variations, and it's got pants in 2 different lengths. So I was like, this is perfect. This is what I'm going to use for my module. So basically I'm making these pants out of the navy. I've already got them cut out. The skirt, there are 2 different types of skirts. There is an A-line skirt and a pencil skirt. I'm going to make the pencil skirt, and I'll talk about a little this here in a minute. Most importantly, the pants have actual pant pockets, you know, the U-shaped kind, instead of just like side seam pockets, which I thought made it look a little bit more dressy, which would make it better for if I wanted to wear to work. So this is also why I picked this pattern, and the fact that the entire pattern is made for knits. It's got an elasticated waistband, so fitting should be easy. I don't have to mess with buttons or fly front or anything like that. So the pants were a sure go. Then I was like, okay, so I need a second top. This has a very lovely top that has sort of a almost square, a soft square neckline, and it has gathers at the neckline, so there's no darts, nothing like that. And I've already cut this one out too, so all I have is a little remnant of the fabric. But the fabric that I'm doing for this is this fruit fabric. So another initiative that is going on this year, the Socialist has announced that they are doing a challenge called Sew the Precious. So that means to sew fabric that you've been like hoarding forever, your precious fabric, and just sew it. You can sew it for a special occasion, but the idea is, you know, not to just keep things and like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I can't cut into it. It's so pretty. And I really liked that idea, because that's actually how I started with this top, is that I'd been hoarding this little striped fabric for a long time now, because I knew I wanted to make a top out of it, but I didn't know what kind of top. I really wanted to make a long sleeve top. I knew there wasn't enough for it. I didn't know what kind of color block, if I run a raglan sleeve or set-in sleeve, all sorts of things. And then when I made this, like I said, I kind of like sewing kind of on a whim, and I just on a whim, like, you know what, I'm gonna use that fabric and I'm gonna do a color block, and it worked out perfectly. So when I was coming to do this module, I knew that I wanted to pick things with navy tones, because actually I don't really have a lot of navy in my wardrobe. So I was looking to see what I had in navy, and I had this fabric, and I'd been hoarding this for like ever, like at least 3 years or more. I only had very little of it, and I knew I wanted to make a t-shirt, but I just wasn't sure what kind of t-shirt. And again, I really like the look of this. I thought, you know what, why worry about it? You know, it's gonna be a t-shirt. I'm gonna, regardless of how I make it, I'm probably gonna get a lot of wear out of it. So I decided to cut it out for this shirt. So I had the navy pants, I had the second shirt that had navy, it had white, it had red in it, and I was thinking about what my other bottom would be, and I didn't have enough navy to make a pencil skirt, which a navy pencil skirt would have been excellent, but I didn't have enough. So I found a similar weight red in my stash. And this red would be perfect for that pencil skirt. And, you know, red is pretty neutral in my book. It's along the lines of navy. So it would work really well. You can see I get more of that nautical theme, or that, you know, USA colors when I wear it with the thread. But more importantly, with this with the fruit top, it would be adorable. I mean, look at that. It really pops out the red apples inside there. And so I think that would be like a cute set. So that was my pencil skirt. Now, if I have enough left over, I might try to make a topper out of it. I don't know if I'm going to have enough, and I don't really have an idea of what pattern to use for the topper, for like the cardigan. I'm thinking like a cardigan or a throw over jacket or something. But I don't know if I have enough, and I'm not really sure on the pattern yet for that. But I did know that I wanted to make the red skirt. And so the module sewing is about 3 tops. So I have this top, I have the fruit top, and I wanted another top. And after I made this top, and I kind of liked how it's color blocked here, but I was noticing how it would look because it's color blocked. You can get a sense of how this top would look if it was short sleeve. And I just love the idea of making the Udava top as a short sleeve top. And as it so happens, I have this stripy fabric in my stash, which is a green and red and navy striped fabric. It's just so pretty. It just, as you can see, it kind of even matches with what I've got on. So I thought this was excellent. I could make another Udava top, but only this time I could make it in short sleeves. It would go with the navy pants. It would go with the red skirt because it's already got a red stripe in it. And I thought this would be excellent. Now, I sort my fabric in color codes when I have them on the shelf, and when I pulled this one out, I found this one, which is a green, dark green, and you can see it goes with the greens inside this top. So I think, not that I need it, I think I might make another pencil skirt in this green to go with this top, so I can kind of mix and match. So this can go with the navy pants, could go with the red pencil skirt, or it could go with the green pencil skirt. And I like green. Green's one of my favorite colors. I know that I'm now adding another item into my module, and I'm all talking about like how I don't have time to sew, but that pencil skirt is 2 pieces. It's cut on the fold. There's a front and a back. It's got, you know, side seams and an elasticated waistline. It's super easy. So I think potentially I could get 2 skirts knocked out in one setting. The last item was like the topper. So I said I kind of wanted a red topper. I don't know if that's going to happen, but because I sort my fabric by color, when I was digging through this, I found this fabric. So this fabric is a holey type fabric, like you can see through it. It's got little holes. It's a sweatery knit type fabric that's a loose knit, I guess you could say. It's a beautiful fabric. I've got about a yard, if not a little more than a yard here. And I, for a long time, have been wanting to make the Blackwood cardigan. And I haven't got around to it, and I think this would be a beautiful Blackwood cardigan. And it would go well with this. It would potentially go well with the green stripe. I'm not sure how it would go with the fruit fabric, but I think this would be almost neutral enough that I could get a lot of wear out of it. And I really like the idea that it's sort of a lightweight knit, so I can wear it layered with something long sleeve now, or I can wear it with short sleeve in the springtime. And so that's what I'm thinking about as far as the Great Module Sew Along. And again, I'm kind of kicking it off here at the end of January on into March. So it kind of goes along with the Make 3 and 3. Obviously, there's more than 3 items here. But as I do my next module, I may not do as many. I may try to focus more on the 3 and 3 just so that I don't overwhelm myself and do too much. The last little thing that I wanted to make mention of as far as sewing plans go is that this year is 2020. And because of that, there's been lots of little hashtags and things going on about 1920s fashion and how it's the 20s again. We should be wearing 20s. So over on Instagram, at Dandelion Break has been using the hashtag sewing the 20s. And basically, she intends to sew 1920s style clothes throughout the year. And I thought that was kind of fun. 1920s is not necessarily my go-to silhouette. I much more prefer, I love the 1950s, but I actually prefer the 1940s or the 1960s as far as just wearing on a daily basis. But I do find the 1920s aesthetic very lovely. If any of you are a fan of the Miss Fisher mysteries, you too will fall in love with her wardrobe, which is from the 1920s style. So there are some items that I would love to make that have a 1920s aesthetic. And as it turns out, in my vast pattern stash, I have quite a few actual original 1920 patterns. I have at least 5. So as I go through this module sewing and this Make 3 and 3 kind of stuff, I want one of the modules to be 1920s themed. And I'm thinking I'm going to do it for the summer because I also have one dress pattern, which is not a vintage pattern at all, but it has such a 1920s silhouette that I'm going to hack it to give it more of that 20s silhouette, and it's been like toying in my head ever since I got that pattern. So I'll share more about that as we go into my summer module, but yes, I do want to do sewing the 20s, if just one module for the year, to try to create some 1920s in the year 2020. So there you have it. There are my sewing plans for 2020. I think I can reasonably keep these plans reasonably. I'm hoping to anyways. And like I said, I've made this top. I've got the pants and the shirt, or the fruit shirt, already cut out. I think they're going to be pretty quickly and easy to make, and I'm excited about it. And I would love to hear what your 2020 sewing plans are. Or do you have plans? Have you already set them up? Are you on that Make 9 bandwagon? Do you like any of these other ones that have come out? Or maybe you're not the planning type. Maybe you're just going to sew on a whim. I'd love to hear your comments below. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Akram's Ideas, and thanks for watching.
And you're watching Akram's Ideas. 2020s, so, and all my recent subscribers, as long and create, bringing, let me do that all over again.